The movie begins with John Falcon Chapman, former Marine, sitting in front of shot glasses with bullets in each one. He calls the names of his fallen comrades and stop on a shot glass with 2 bullets inside. He pours his whiskey into the glass and drinks, before revealing a revolver nearby. He loads the 2 bullets into the chamber and throws up his salute, prepared to take his own life, but the gun does not fire. He grimly repeats to himself that this is not his week to die. Deciding to instead kill himself slowly, he heads over to a corner store to buy some more death in a bottle. Suddenly, 2 goons rush the store, ordering everyone down. Falcon keeps browsing, and the bamboozled goon has to get his attention. Falcon sees another chance and begins to urge the man to aim higher if he wishes to take his life. The man is lost for words, and Falcon, angered by his hesitation, takes him out. The other man tries attacking, but Falcon easily knocks him down. He then runs the goon's pockets and pays for his whiskey with the cash register money. That night, Falcon is suffering from PTSD, having flashbacks of his missions in the Middle East. He tries to distract himself with an intense workout, but the trauma is too much and he ends up punching a hole in the wall. The next morning, Falcon is awakened by banging on the door and tries to ignore it, but it turns out to be his sister Cindy. She rips him a new one for not remembering that she was supposed to be in town for a wedding, and for leaving her stranded at the airport. She forgives him anyway, and the 2 hug it out. Later they go out for dinner and catch up on old times. Cindy is concerned about Falcon, who insists that he is doing okay. She asks about his meds and he flashes a bottle, but Cindy knows better and takes the bottle, revealing that they are just mints. Falcon then admits that the meds make him weak in the mind. He asks her about her charity work in the slums of Brazil, concerned about her safety, but Cindy insists that she is fine, even indicating that she is returning tomorrow. The next morning, Cindy is packed and ready to go and finds Falcon sleeping on the couch. She kisses him goodbye and leaves, wishing him all the best. Over in Brazil, we then meet 2 officers about to go on patrol through the market, when a small girl alerts them to an incident. The 2 officers then go to the shoreline, where a crowd is gathered around the beaten and bloodied body of Cindy, who turns out to be alive. Nearby, some gangsters look on with cold stares. At the U.S. consulate in Rio, Vice Consul Ridley is visited by Rio detectives Santo and Carlo. Santos shows Ridley the file on Cindy, and he instantly recognizes her. He wonders who would do this, but Santo indicates that it could be anyone in the slums. Falcon is at home when he gets a phone call about the shocking attack on his sister, and instantly heads out. Back in Rio, the 2 officers are handing out sodas at a gathering in the street. Gunshots suddenly go off in the distance, and they take off running towards the sounds. Meanwhile, Santo and Carlo, along with their team, are able to apprehend the suspects and find a crate of weapons. The 2 officers arrive late and Santo recognizes the female officer Catarina. He scolds her for trying to do social work, while allowing crime to run free in her jurisdiction. He warns her that due to Cindy's attack, he will be taking over, when suddenly a rock is thrown, and there is a standoff with the gangsters and cops with guns everywhere. Realizing that he is outgunned, Santo proposes a street fight between his best fighter and theirs. If the gangsters win, then Santo promises to give them back their guns and never return. The gangsters accept, and Santo's best fighter turns out to be Carlo, who confidently urges the other opponent to step forward. The man attacks, but Carlo seems to be toying with him. He tries once more, but this time, Carlo begins to beat him down, before finishing him off with a deadly kick to the head. Seeing this, Santo promises to be a regular visitor to their hood until they find out who killed Cindy. He leaves after urging Catarina to remember whose side she is on. Falcon arrives in Brazil and meets with Ridley, who turns out to be a former Marine who served with Falcon. Falcon wastes no time and heads directly to see his sister. He is shocked to see Cindy, unrecognizable from her wounds, barely hanging on to life. Santo stops by and introduces himself, promising to find her attackers. He thinks it could be a robbery and indicates that they are investigating known criminals. John refuses to rest and demands to be taken where Cindy was found. Santo drives Falcon through the favelas and takes him to meet Catarina. There is an explosion and Falcon grabs her gun and is ready to jump into action, but it turns out to be a car backfiring. Around him, gangsters ready their guns, but Santo tells them to cool down. Santo then leaves Falcon with Catarina, who takes him to where Cindy was found. He notices that the place is open and gangsters hanging out nearby, confused as to why Catarina has no witnesses. She tells him it is complicated, and shows him a hospital that the dealers actually pay for, and how they take care of the residents, which is why no one will talk. Falcon returns to the hospital to see an Asian nurse giving Cindy her meds before leaving. Soon after settling in, Cindy suddenly begins to have convulsions. Falcon runs from the room and gets the staff to attend to her, but learns that there was no Asian nurse assigned to her room. Later, Ridley and Santo come by to speak with Falcon, confirming whether he really saw an Asian nurse, but he insists. He then demands that Cindy's room be protected 24/7, to which they agree. The next day, Falcon goes back to the crime scene where he sees the same set of gangsters nearby. One of them takes off walking and Falcon goes after him, calling for him to stop. He asks about Cindy but notices that the man is wearing her necklace. The man refuses to answer, so Falcon grabs him. The others attack, but are easily dispatched with strong strikes. The man wearing the necklace pulls a knife, but Falcon disarms him and holds him at knife point. Katerina intervenes, holding Falcon at gunpoint and demanding that he let the man go. Katerina then introduces the man as Kuka, who worked with Cindy and whose sister was also killed a few days ago. The man then shows Falcon a picture of his sister, and Falcon apologizes for the attack. The man then gives Falcon Cindy's notebook, and Falcon tells him to keep the necklace. Katerina then tells Falcon about a recent string of missing kids in the favelas, and Cindy's attack could be linked to them. As the two drive away, a woman looks on and makes a phone call. That night, Santo and Carlo are staking out some cheeks and see a rich businessman pull up. The two drag the man out of his car and begin to kick his ass. Santo then gives the girl money and tells her to not return, otherwise he will arrest her. They then throw the man back in his car and leave him there. Falcon is alone sitting in a bar drinking and gets the check. He gets an idea, and uses the carbon paper to reveal the imprint of a page torn from Cindy's notebook, which reveals her last appointment. He calls the number and hears a man named Bruno answer and asks to meet. The man sounds worried but gives Falcon a location to meet him in daylight. Falcon meets with Bruno the next day, who was her photographer and has been in hiding since he heard about her attack. Bruno tells Falcon that Cindy started investigating the disappearance of the young girls in the favela. She had arranged a meeting with someone who could uncover the conspiracy, and had Bruno hide and take photos of the meeting, which he gave to Cindy before her attack. He refuses to give the copies to Falcon, stating that they are his insurance, unknowingly indicating that the photos are in his top pocket. Before he leaves, Falcon pretends to hug him, thanking him for being Cindy's friend, and steals a flash drive from him. Just as Bruno enters his car, it explodes, killing him. Nearby, John spots the same nurse from Cindy's room and gives chase after her, but she jumps into a waiting car. Suddenly, a van of gangsters pull up and open fire on Falcon. He grabs the gun of a killed guard and returns fire, hitting two men and driving them back. Falcon brings the flash drive to Ridley, who discovers the man Cindy was meeting with. Falcon recalls the tattoos of the gangsters that shot at him, and Ridley thinks that they may be Yakuza. Falcon is then able to spot a clue from the pictures, the name of a nearby nightclub, Kronos. Ridley then insists on taking Falcon there to be his backup. Falcon arrives at the packed nightclub and spots the man Cindy was meeting with, who turns out to be the DJ. There are guards nearby, so Falcon waits until the DJ leaves the booth and heads to the bathroom. One guard is standing watch, but a swift kick to the head puts him down quietly. Falcon corners the man in the bathrooms, showing him a picture of Cindy, but the man refuses to speak. Falcon then puts him face down in a toilet full of fresh pee until he finally confesses. He tells Falcon that he does smuggling, Cindy found out, and confronted him about it. But he did not harm her. His client, though, had men watching and was the one who harmed her. He gives Falcon a location that his client owns, and Falcon takes his briefcase and leaves. Later, we see Santo briefing his team, giving them the pictures of known criminals involved in people smuggling, and orders them to kill them all without hesitation. Falcon and Ridley are heading to the location when he opens the briefcase to reveal shipping manifests. But Ridley points out that the documents are fakes. Santo and his team arrive in the favelas and start hunting the criminals, brutally cutting them down when they try to fight back or escape. Ridley and Falcon arrive at the location, which turns out to be a high-class brothel. Falcon enters alone, bringing the briefcase, looking around for the owner. One man spots him and makes a call upstairs to the Asian woman named Tomo. She spots Falcon at the bar, then orders her man to deal with him. One guard comes to call Falcon, bringing him to a balcony. When he looks over, he is shocked to see men loading young girls out of a van, and even spots Kuka's sister. The guard suddenly attacks, but Falcon evades and kills him. He goes searching and finds the girls all gathered inside a room, but guards pull up and begin looking for him. Santo's men are still gunning down the gangsters when one of them comes upon men loading girls into a van. He manages to kill one man and subdue the other, reporting to Santo his find. Santo and Carlo pull up to the scene, but Santo suddenly shoots the officer dead, cleans the gun and hands it back to the gangster. He then contacts Tomo directly, revealing that he killed everyone Cindy talked to, and arranges to collect his payment. Back at the villa, a guard stumbles upon his downed comrade and reports the find to Tomos, who mobilizes all her guards. She then contacts her boss, the leader of the Yakuza, Hiramoto, who orders them to finish off Cindy. Hiramoto then contacts Santo, telling them to take care of Falcon. Standing before Hiramoto is the DJ, who apologizes for losing the shipping manifests, but Hiramoto wants to hear no excuses. He approaches the DJ and pulls out a katana, citing his love for the blade. He then suddenly stabs the man, killing him, before coldly cleaning his blade. Back at the villa, the guards catch up with Falcon and surround him. One gets too close and he jumps into action and begins fighting. The gunshots are reported to Katarina, who speeds towards the location. Falcon is surrounded, but with expert skills he evades multiple strikes, before dropping the men with powerful punches and kicks. Santo and Carlo pull up and hold him at gunpoint, but Katarina also arrives. Falcon tells them about Kuka's sister and the other girls, but the room turns out to be empty. He shows them the counterfeit shipping manifests, and deduces that the Yakuza are trying to ship the girls. Santo tells him to hand over the DJ's briefcase so they can investigate, and Falcon complies, trusting him. As Falcon leaves, he wonders how Santo knew who owned the briefcase and sends Katarina to check on his sister. Katarina is on her way to the hospital. Meanwhile, Tomo has already arrived and enters Cindy's room. She goes to remove her life support, but Katarina shoots her dead, then tells her to put her hands behind her back. Santo and Carlo take the briefcase to a shipping yard controlled by the Yakuza, unaware they are carrying Falcon, who takes out a nearby guard. He sees the girls being moved and calls Ridley, telling him to turn up with backup. Inside the docks, Kiramoto and his men hear gunfire, and he sends them all to check, and pulls out his katana, preparing to join the fight. The men begin searching the building for Falcon, who begins taking out the men after stealing a gun. He works his way through the warehouse, narrowly avoiding getting shot, but taking down all the gangsters. Santo and Carlo are on his trail, and they begin to exchange gunfire. Falcon, however, manages to crush Santo under crates, but Carlo attacks him. The two men seem evenly matched, trading even blows and evading each other's strikes. Falcon catches him with a well-timed kick when Santo also joins the fight. The two men face him, but Kiramoto also joins in the fight with his blade. Now surrounded by 3 skilled fighters, Falcon zones in, and with refined movements he battles the men. They appear to be getting the upper hand, but Falcon stabs Carlo in the foot, before breaking Santo's sternum with strong blows. The last capable fighter is Kiramoto and his katana, so Falcon picks up 2 metal pipes to use as batons. They jump into battle, but neither man can get the upper hand with their strikes until Kiramoto gets a slice in, then manages to stab Falcon in the stomach with a hidden blade. Kiramoto then mocks Cindy, but this angers Falcon, who begins to beat Kiramoto down with the baton, breaking multiple bones before breaking his neck. Falcon then picks up a gun and stands over Santo, who is dying. He gives Falcon a key to his locker, containing files on everyone Kiramoto has bribed inside the government. He regrets the direction he took in his life, and Falcon leaves him a gun so that he can end things on his own terms. The remaining gangsters are arrested, and Kuka's sister and the other girls are rescued. A week later, Falcon is sitting by Cindy's bedside when she wakes up and looks at him before falling back asleep. The doctor tells him about the injuries she sustained, and that it may be years before she is back to her normal self. Falcon later meets with Ridley, who applauds him for taking down the smuggling ring. Ridley then offers Falcon a job with the government as a way to get better help for Cindy, and he accepts, taking his first mission. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.